All right, well, we made it to the farm, bright and early, but a packed house actually, kind of. But the park looks like it's back to normal, at least for now. Let's go see what's going on. Hey guys, well, we made it to another week at the farm here, post Scary Farm. Funnily enough, it's kind of packed here on a Monday, especially for it being, I don't know if Orange County schools are out or what, but there's quite a bit of people at the front of the park. We're just gonna kind of go around and see how it survived the first weekend. This ride has to be one of the biggest anomalies to me here, because they obviously planned on it reopening. It's all painted up, it matches the area, the theming is all there. I think they opened it for maybe a week or two, and then they shut it down again. And since then, they haven't said anything about it. But, you know, for the past few weeks, this ride has just been kind of sitting dormant. Pretty soon it's gonna be growing weeds on it. And since the possible disaster of this ride being down again for extended periods of time, we've heard nothing new. Just that something wasn't right in the launch system, and I guess what they said was they ordered the wrong part or something, so they have to reorder the correct one and get that installed, and then, well, like I said last week, start all over again. That's not good news for anybody that was excited for this. For anybody that saw them testing the coaster last month, that's never good to hear. One of your premier attractions just continues to be cursed. And speaking of A-list attractions that KNOTT is going to have to figure out soon, there are small rumblings now with the work that's going on at Camp Snoopy that KNOTT is going to have to figure out probably, I guess, by the end of October, maybe closer to the end of Scary Farm, what they're going to actually do with this ride. They haven't gone ahead and said that they're going to go ahead and finish the construction and getting it done. So there is a very off chance that KNOTT does away with this. I'm hoping that's not true. I know I can't ride this ride because of my head problems, but I know a lot of people that would be very, very sad were this to go away. And on that subject, KNOTT seems to be in a position now where they're gonna have to make a lot of decisions coming up by the end of the year. It's strange because the year started out so optimistic with the opening of Fiesta Village and all of these promises on the horizon. Some of them were met, some of them weren't, and some of them are highly in question now. But there comes a time when you can only do 50% of a job and then move on to the next, when people don't just start asking what's actually going on here. It leads me to believe that Cedar Fair doesn't really know what they're gonna do, and they're kind of kicking the can down the road with all of these big projects. It sucks to see, because you want this park to really be a competitor to Disney and Universal and Six Flags, but when you have half the park sitting behind walls, it makes it hard to take it seriously in that respect, right? So, I don't know, I'm just kind of venting a little bit here. I'm hoping sometime soon we see some sort of movement in any direction. At this point, I'd just like to hear something, some sort of answer as to what's going on, as I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. And speaking of projects that are half done, although this one, for the most part, looks like they are continuing to do it. They're moving forward with this, but they still don't say what it's going to be. So we will find out soon, I guess, soon enough. I'd rather want to know what's going on with Montezuma and Accelerator first, but if we get news about this before any of those, that's still okay. Any news is good news at this point. It's funny because you forget how much this park can actually hold a good amount of people, because for the size of people that I saw coming in this morning in the parking lot and the lines at the main gates, the whole back of the park again just remains a ghost town, basically. I think a lot of those people were families with kids, so most of them are probably in Camp Snoopy at this point. But this, even on busy days, this part of the park doesn't start filling up until like 11:30, 12 o'clock. It's crazy. And it looks like Johnny Rockets took down all their tent stuff from the media events that they had all this past weekend. So this will be business as usual again. Something we're starting to see pop up all around the park here that a lot of people were predicting is these soda machines that give you much more of a choice. So apparently these are a success so far. They're adding more and more around the park. Probably all the refill stations will have them soon. So with room 13 being the maze of the event so far, I'm curious as to whether or not the Blind Tiger has any more Devil's Elixir, or if they're just out of business altogether.
Hey, buddy, someone's at the door.
Who do you think it could be?
How should I know? Use the people. Well, who is it?
I don't know. It's somebody wearing one of the ugliest outfits I ever seen. Yet it complements her face perfectly. Go away!
But at least they got this ride running again. Not a moment too soon. Some things you can't hide under the cover of daylight. Some things gotta stick around. Scary, but it's pretty now. Here's something interesting. They decided to run the train today instead of the goose. So they were expecting people. They know something that I don't know, apparently. And it's a shame that we still don't have the skull up on top of the Calico Log Ride. Something must have happened to it, because that's usually one of the first things they put up. I have no idea. The wiring is up there to light it, but I don't know. That's strange. This is one of the funnier times to be in the park during the day and see all of the Halloween decorations. Like, just sitting in parade rest, just waiting to spring to life at night. It's such a funny contrast, because the park is so pretty during the day, and then you have all this Halloween stuff that just kind of sits around, but it looks like it's half done because a lot of it comes to life with lighting and fog and stuff, so you know, it's not really able to be appreciated in that way, but it is funny. So numerous times I've come over here and been like, oh, they closed the bridges, and then I was like, no, they're not going to close the bridges. It's kind of a throughway to get to the restrooms and stuff over here. And then I went through the cave, not realizing that they closed the bridges. Yeah, this looks like this is where most of the crowd went, was Camp Snoopy. So my guess is schools are closed today for something, maybe an in-service. What am I looking for? This is when they're observing Columbus Day today instead of next Monday or the Monday after or whatever. I don't know. But that's what my guess is. So now the meet and greet is still walled off too, along with the theater and Woodstock's airmail. So that makes pretty much half of Camp Snoopy behind walls. And no word on what their master plan is. Leaves room for a lot of speculation as to what's actually going to happen here, because a lot of people can come up with a lot of different answers as to what they're doing. Nothing really changing as far as the park itself. It's just chugging along, doing its thing. It's the time of year now where this is kind of the forgotten zone. Daytime weekends, especially on dark days for Scary Farm and Spooky Farm, where this is kind of just like you come to get a slice of Americana real quick and take in the things that you can't really take in when the park gets super crazy, such as pine trees. This is just kind of the reminder that this side of the park still exists. And it's just nice to just get a nice little brisk walk in. The weather is perfect right now, and the park is chugging along. So I have some stuff going on this weekend where I'm going to be out of town, but I'll be back at the farm next weekend, probably for more Scary Farm and possibly some Spooky Farm updates. Until then, we'll see you later.